I have the wonderful client and friend of mine, Mr. Dylan Hendrickson from Stacks in the room with us. Dylan, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
Always good to see you. Always good to see you, man. So, we've been working together since, how long's it been now, actually? It's been,
I want to say maybe probably close to a year,
yeah,
like
I think it's
last
coming up to the year mark
nine
now.
to 12 months, something like that.
Yeah. And in that time, we've been able to do a number of different things for him, specifically on the sales side as far as the build outs are concerned. So, as kind of like my first question, just to kick things off, between, I would say now and let's say Q4 2024, which is around 12 months ago, what did sales look like back then and how does it look now?
Yeah, I think the big thing that you were able to help with was our transition to a new CRM. So back then, at the time, we were just using an AirTable, database for our CRM, which at the time was fine. It was just me. A lot of the leads were like inbound and through social and whatnot. But we knew that where we were going to be going, we're moving into paid ads. We knew the lead flow would kick up and that we'd need to build a sales team at some point. So we moved to close, and a lot of that initial setup and migration and whatnot was led by you. So that was definitely the biggest help. Just getting a more official CRM with pipeline stage and a lot more automations on the CRM side too. So it's really just the entire CRM side of things has definitely just been formalized quite significantly since what we were doing prior in Airtable.
Nice. So I remember we went from you taking a ton of calls. I had a look at your calendar back then, and I know it was a great time, but also treacherous times. Comparing then when you were on sales calls 24/7 and it was just you, how is the sales side of Stacks looking right now as far as headcount?
No, it's really good. So I got two other reps that sell underneath me, and I have a third one starting here in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then we might even push to add one more before the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, just having the CRM set up the way that you were able to help us set it up enabled us to add more reps. Whereas what we were doing prior, it would have been a nightmare to try and accommodate that. So yeah, it's looking good. Hopefully, by the end of the next year, I'm not taking any sales calls, and we just have a team in that sales manager role. Maybe it happens sooner. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's kind of my whole thing. So I have a co-founder. Me and him are the two partners. He sits a little bit more on the fulfillment operations side. I sit more on the sales marketing side. So I'm effectively kind of a full-time sales rep, but then also sales manager. So my goal throughout this year and even next year is just to continually build the sales team, pour into the sales team, and continue to sit further and further into that sales manager role.
100%. So if we wanted to sort of like give a brief background to the business and I guess how things were looking beforehand, what kind of stage was the business in before we started working together?
It was early. It was a lot of foundation setting. So, when you say before started working together, I'm thinking like August of last year, September of last year, 2024 specifically. And me and my business partner, we merged our two firms together in December of 2023. So we'd only been partnered 8 months, 9 months, 10 months at that time. So at that time, it was a lot of foundation setting. It was bringing on our first team members. I think around August, we hired 2 people in July and 1 person in August last year. And that was what started pushing our head count into like, there's like 8 or 9 people here now. And so it was a lot of foundation setting and systems on the fulfillment side. And the sales side was pretty basic. Just like minimum, taking notes on a notepad, following like just very manual, right? To where as we're going to move into paid ads, I think we started running paid ads like that in November or December. Moved into close, I believe that September or October of 24. So before it was really just laying the foundation before we started working together. And our work together was kind of one of the key pieces that allowed us push forward and increase the sales velocity. Before working together, like I said, we were sub 10 people on the team. Client count, I don't remember off the top of my head at that time. Probably, I don't know, maybe 25, 30, somewhere in there. I honestly don't remember. But compare that to now, partially in part to what we've been able to do on the CRM side and the sales side, and with the paid ads and a lot of the automations from the funnel, from the paid ads coming into close properly, right? We're now sending an offer letter to the 24th person on the team. So we're over 20, 25 here within the next. And the client count is pushing 70. And very well, if things go how I hope they go, by next year, end of next year, we could be closer to like a 50-person team count, more like 150 to 200 clients. So yeah, that's kind of the before and after and where we're heading.
Nice. And it's really nice to see essentially how much throughput the CRM was able to give you in that scenario. So as far as how you are right now in the sales manager role with your 2 reps right now, and sort of like managing them as things are going. Talk to me about what that process looks like right now and what you've been able to do considering how close looks right now for you.
Yeah, that's definitely like my number one area where I'm actively like acquiring that skill and learning. And it's actually what has me really excited about the role right now is kind of that realization of, oh, there's an opportunity for me to be a really good operator within the sales function of the company. Because while I do love the sales and, helping people out and bringing people into the company, I do love a lot of the operational side too. I love hiring. I love some of the systems and whatnot. So the realization that I get to do that on the sales side is actually really exciting. So I'm actively, gaining that skill. I meet with each rep, a few times a week, just training and coaching, working through the pipeline. And then probably once a week or at least every other week, I'll check, their past 2 weeks of CRM activity to make sure that everything's been updated properly, which is still an ongoing battle to make sure stuff is updated same day and timely because a lot of our sales, statistics and some of the marketing even is through some of the custom reports that you've helped to build inside of there. What we're marking, did they show, were they qualified? What happened at the end of the call? That sort of stuff. We get a lot of our stats from that. So if they're not updating it timely, then it kind of messes everything else up. So, actively acquiring that skill. I need to set up some better smart views for both myself and for the reps. That's kind of on my list of things to do.
So given that as well, what would you say has been, I guess, the biggest tangible result since we've started working together?
I mean, I'm going to keep coming back to it. This is the CRM build, and then also the automations from the funnel into the CRM. We increased our amount of leads dramatically through paid ads. I mean, from January of 25 to February of 25, our business doubled. And I think we'll have it double one more time before the end of the year's over if Q4 goes the right way. But like being able to capture those leads coming in through the funnel, into the CRM, certain automations in the CRM based on where they're at. Certain automations, where it's assigning the right closer to the lead and the opportunity and whatnot as it comes in, all are very valuable. And then, just even, it's all kind of the second order consequences of having the CRM set up. It's like, okay, because the CRM set up the right way, we can get to the right leads. We can text and call inside of the CRM. I can see a track record. There's just a lot of really positive things that come through, which in my opinion definitely led to more deals closed. Having the automations pulling in from the funnel side into the sales side, and then really just taking them through that journey, right? From ad through funnel, discovery call, we do a 2-call close. So like our audit call, and getting the deal across the line, definitely closing more deals than we would have otherwise if none of that was set up. And it would have been a significant headache on my end to try and manage all of that, without a lot of the stuff that we've worked on together being set up properly.
100%. And I wanted to go into your sales process just a little bit as well, because I know that there are going to be a number of different types of sales processes from 1-call closes to 2-call closes. But you guys run an audit, which is not too dissimilar from a couple of other friends that we have in the agency space that do email marketing and things like that.
Yeah.
But talk to me about how the CRM morphed over time due to the results of sort of like what you are finding out on these sales calls, and like how were these audits and you actually like going through these processes allowing you to iterate on how the CRM looked? Like, how was that process?
Yeah, we actually moved to a 2-call close in January of 25. So that was after we set up the CRM. So just having the ability to add, the different opportunity stages inside of close was really easy, to be honest. How it was set up, it was easy to go in and add the next stages. And then also adding the custom activities, like the same way we have a post-discovery call kind of form built inside a close for the closer. We have the same thing for the audit call. Did they show? Did we get access to their financials? Did we make an offer? Did we send a contract? Did we book a follow-up call? All that sort of stuff is all just built nice and tidy right up into there. The other cool thing that closes allowed us to do, some of this I've done myself, some of this stuff you helped put into place as well, is just some of the workflows that can be done in terms of like email and text automations. So move to an audit call. We had a discovery call flow for when someone booked their initial call that they would get before the call. But then recently I added another flow for, pre-audit call where, they're getting emails of me sitting down with some of our fractional CFOs and going through how they've helped clients and that stuff. And having that ability inside of close is definitely great on the nurturing side too, where we're hammering them with the emails and the texts and the YouTube videos in between call 1 and call 2, before call 1, all that sort of stuff.
Before even the move to audit calls, your ability to determine, okay, our show rate is lagging a little bit and we can see that from the CRM, or at this part of the sale, it looks like things are falling through the cracks. Your ability to pick up bottlenecks beforehand versus now, like how is it looking right now?
Yeah, and in combination between you and our marketing agency, we've definitely gotten a significantly better grasp on our stats. That was something that we struggled with for a long time. And I still struggle a little bit with it. So it's something I'm actively getting better at. But we have way better access to the data now than we did beforehand. A combination of what's in close on the funnel side, and then also through those custom forms, we're able to get a lot of data as well on the show rate and the qualified rate and those sorts of things. Adding the 2 call close definitely opened that up. We aggressively attacked show rates this year because it was bad at one point. We were booking a shiz ton of calls, but our show rate was like 30%, just something like atrocious, 35, 40 on a good day. But we're pretty consistently in that like 65 range now, and some weeks it'll be in the 70s. So it's gotten a lot better. And then in terms of sales process, when we move from our discovery call to our audit call, a lot of deals die if we aren't able to get access to what we need. Our audit is what we've noticed. So we push really hard to get access to what we need on the call when we can. Yeah.
So I know that you said that with the current trajectory, you have previously doubled this year. You may end up even doubling again by the end of this year. What would you say are your goals for next year, and where would you want to be, let's say, middle of 2026?
We have to double again next year, 100%. Which that'll put us like in the mid to high 7 figures, in that range. So definitely for where we want to go, like to get it to 8 figures, and the timeline that we're kind of shooting for. Everyone's just trying to compress the timeline. I'd definitely be shooting for a double, which I think is realistic. At a certain growth stage, like it's not going to be realistic to keep doubling over. But I do think at our size, we do have an opportunity where as we keep getting better on the ad side, continue to scale ad spend, continue to add sales reps. I think the bigger bottleneck there is really training, like sourcing and training and ramping sales reps, really. I definitely think we have a great opportunity to have another high growth year in 2026 plan. So like I said, we're right around that 25-ish team members, pushing 70 clients, probably over 70 clients we signed to this week, to where I could see both of those numbers doubling in 2026.
Nice. We love to see that. So
yeah, it's fun.
No, 100%. It's one of those things that I love just about the game, when you can see all of the data and there's so much of it as well, especially with paid ads, because it just becomes maths at that point. It's like, all right, we spend this much. We know we're going to generate this. We know this is going to generate into this much revenue up front. We know this is going to generate this much revenue in LTV. And then you can just almost pattern match and just work your way through whatever the math looks like so that you can turn it into whatever goal that you're looking to get. And it looks like right now that's very much the case. And it's been really good seeing how the trajectory's been, because even with a lot of the forms and some of the graphs and things like that, just steady, just up. We've just been seeing upwards.
Yeah.
There's none of this. It's just been straight up, which has been great to see.
It's been a ton of fun. And, obviously we sell financial services, right? Accounting, fractional CFOs, tax planning, that sort of stuff. So a lot of times in our sales process and to our clients, we'll say, hey, our numbers aren't the most important thing. It's the only thing, if on the profit side and the margin side and the financials, but that really is through the entirety of business, right? Like if we don't have the data we need on the sales side, how do we know what bottleneck to attack, right? Or on the marketing side. So having access to the data is just, it's massive, really big. Obviously I'm biased on the financial side, but really I think that statement carries through the entirety of it.
Have to track your numbers. So, if someone was deciding between working with me, someone on Upwork, another ops agency, doing it themselves, for example, what would you recommend based on your experience? Because I know that you have a number of different vendors. You've worked with different vendors for marketing. You've worked with me, and you've worked with some others as well. What's your recommendations on that front?
Yeah, Sheni's definitely vetted, just on a personal level, like his personal experience. He's vetted because, there's a lot of people out there that can create an automation for you, but there's not a lot of people that understand how it affects affects the business as a whole from a larger context on the business side. Whereas Sheni's been a coach for, hundreds of business owners in prior roles, hundreds of agency owners growing, both startup and both, sophisticated and larger. So with some of that experience, he understands the greater effect on the business as a whole at play, and the second and third order consequences of certain automations and whatnot. Because, a lot of founders may not even know what they need built, right? Or why they should build XYZ, right? And Sheni has that understanding on the business side to say, hey, this is what's most important here. Or, hey, that actually isn't going to have the lift you think it is, right? Like if you're just starting to exercise, you probably don't need every single machine ever created in your gym, right? And it's kind of the same with automation and whatnot. So he's going to say, hey, let's start with this machine because that's where you're going to recapture the most of your time, and it's going to require less of your time, and that's where we're going to see this big lift. So I think that's probably one of the main things that sets him apart is the business understanding. He's been a business owner himself. He's coached lots of business owners. So that extra context definitely goes a long way compared to, some freelance type person off Upwork, in my opinion. And another thing is just enjoyable to work with, right? Like, I think that's something that sets us apart is like accounting is somewhat dry, right? People aren't like chomping at the bit to jump on with their accountant. But I think at our company, there are people that are excited for their CFO calls because it's enjoyable to work with. And it's the same thing with Sheni, right? Like whenever we had calls, it was never like, fuck, like I don't want to jump on and chat with Sheni. Like we always had good conversations. It didn't feel like work when we were knocking stuff out together. So those are the two big things that come to mind. It's just the overall understanding of business outside of automation and how automation affects the business as a whole. And then just enjoyable to work with, just genuinely a great dude. Like he mentioned at the beginning of the call, we're friends even kind of outside of the work in the business. So yeah, definitely would recommend him. Good character, fun to work with, but also has the knowledge to deliver the result as well.
Thank you very much. Where can people find you?
Our website is stacks.pro. So STA.pro is kind of where our funnel is. And, if you're looking for help, there's an application on there and you'll get on a call with either me or one of the reps that we have that are great as well. Or, on Twitter and Instagram, very responsive if you're trying to talk to me specifically. My Instagram handle is just Dylan Hendrickson _. You can DM me there anytime. And my Twitter handle, I think, is the same. Or you could type in based accountant. YouTube, it's Dylan.Hendrickson. Got a lot of stuff on there. So any of those places are great.
Sweet. Nice one. Dylan, thank you very, very much for this conversation. I had an amazing time.
Me as well, dude. Appreciate all the stuff and all the great work you've done for us up until this point. It's been very helpful and definitely don't think we'd be where we're at without a lot of the stuff that you've had your hands in helping us out with.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you again soon.
Go team.